Hello, Internet. This is Alex the Sudokus, and it is Tuesday, the 3rd of November 2020. And we have another New York Times and LA Times Sudoku streaming session. Hopefully, today will be a bit more successful. And I'm using my home internet to stream as well. So let's hope it goes well. I did some testing yesterday and changed the bitrate a bit. Unfortunately, there will be some quality lost, but I think it's acceptable. So let's do today's hard New York Times Sudoku, and then I'm going to do the LA Times expert. And if there's time, I will do the medium New York Times as well, and then anything else after that. So let's start with the hard Sudoku. We've got a pair of ones there because of these two ones. That one there on its own unlocks a 1 actually, because it creates a pointed pair of ones and creates another 1 there. Pair of ones there anyway. These two ones locks a pair of ones up there as well. And I think that's all I can do with ones. Whilst I'm here, there's a checkerboard pattern within this cage, and that's often quite useful. So for instance, the 5 creates a pointed pair of 5s there. But actually, and there's a pair of 9s over there because of these two 9s. So not super helpful. Oh, actually, there's also a pair of 4s there. So those 4s along with that 4 creates a pointed pair of 4s that way, which unlocks a 4 here and a 4 there. So that is useful. That 4 doesn't do anything else. So let's look at 2s now. Going back to our normal routines. So 2 doesn't give me... Oh, hang on. There's a pair of 2s down here because of that 2. So that's interesting because it locks a 2 down there due to the fact that this cell can't be a 2 in this column. And this pointed pair of 2 rules out this cell as well. So I'm left with 6 and 7 in these two cells on a column, and I've got a 6 over there, so I've just unlocked another 2 numbers. So let's have a look. The 6 unlocks a pair of 6s there, creating a 1-6 pair, but also unlocks a 6 up here. So anything else? I've also got a pair of 6s here whilst I'm looking at the 6s. Meanwhile, the 7 locks a pair of 7s over there, and I also have a pair of pointer 7s up here, thanks to this 7 anyway, so the 7 has actually been unlocked. So that's quite a lot of movements quite quickly. So on this column, I am left with 2s and 9s, which I actually can't resolve. So, well, but I do know that these two cells are 9s because I've got a 1-6 pair here creating a triple on this row, and 9 can't go in there, and the only number left is a 4. So 4s are here. That means I've got another pair of 4s here because I've got 4 and a pointed pair of 4s. So maybe I should go back to the 2s now. Or did I finish with the 2s? I can't remember now. I do have a pair of 2s up here because of that 2 and the pointed pair of 2s along with that 2. Yeah, I do think I'm finished with the 2s. Anything on the 3s? I've got a pair of 3s over there. And I think that's it. I do have a pointed triple of 3s, but I've got the other 2 3s already locked down anyway. So, and this cage is 3, 4, 5, and 9. That is 4 numbers, isn't it? Okay. So, going back to the 4s. Can I do anything with the 4s? Not that I can see. 5s. Well, I've got a pair of 5s there because of this 5. So that locks a pair of 5s up here as well because I've got a pointed pair of 5s up here. Oh, in fact, I have another pair of 5s down here. So this 5 with the pointed pair of 5s leaves me 4 possible positions for the 5, which is not particularly friendly. Let's move on to 6s. 6s. I think I did look at the 6s earlier. I can't see any more sixes. Sevens. Can't see anything else with the sevens either. 8 is locked in here because of that 8 and the 2 8s taking the rolls. That means I've got a pair of 8s up here. Now, anything else of the 8s? Not that I can see. So finally, 9s. I've got a pair of 9s there. That is probably going to be quite useful. In fact, I can resolve this because I've got a pointed pair of 9s there. So this 5-9 pair can be resolved anyway. Now, that leaves me a pair of 1s here because I've got a triple on this cage now. So it's 1s, 3s, and 7s. So then different cells. And that leaves me a 4, 6, 8, and 4, 6, 8, and 2. 2, 4. So this is 6 and 8. Hold on. 4 and 6 is there. Hold on. 6. Oh no. 4 and 6. So this is 2 and 8. Got 6 but no 4. Don't think I can unlock that just yet, but I'll come back to it in a second. Let's see, the 9. Let's stay on the 9s for now. I've got a pair of 9s over here as well, because of that 9, and the pointed 9s. Anything else on the 9s? Nope. Okay, so let's go back to this for a second. What is this again? 4, 6, 2, and 8. 2, 4, 6, and 8. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Yeah, I don't think I can solve this yet. And that can be 2 as well. So why don't I blow my nose first? And then come back to the puzzle and look at any weak areas. I've got 2 and 9 here, which I can't resolve just yet. Any other weak areas? I've got another quadruple here, which is 4, 9, 8, and 4, 9, 8, and 3. 3, 4, 9, and 8. So I've got 9 and 8 there. So this is 3 and 4. I've got 4 and 9 there. So that's 3 and 8. 4, 9, and anything goes here. So not particularly useful for now. So this is a triple. Then I've got a 3, 7 pair in these 2 cells. If this is 3 and 7, does that rule anything out? I don't think so. Okay. What about the columns? I looked at the 2 and 9. Well, I guess that's the momentum going for this puzzle. Let's do some more pencil markings that may potentially unlock something else. So let's have a look at it. Just looked at a 1, so let's look at the 2s. Can't see anything with the 2s. 3s. So 3s have to be here, here, somewhere in here. And no restrictions in this cage. Now I'm a bit worried that this is where we get stuck. 4s, I can't see anything. 5s. Oh, I've got a pair of 5s there because of these 2 5s and a pointed pair of 5s up there. So that creates a 4, 5 pair, meaning I've got 1, 3, and 6 down here. But this can't be 1. That doesn't help me. I haven't got 3 or 6 locked down yet. Okay, let's carry on with the 5s. 5s. So I'm only dealing with 5s in this cage, which is in all 4 cells in a corner. So that's a bit annoying. 6. 6s, I think I've pencil marked all of them, haven't I? No, I haven't. I've got 6s in 3 cells there. Ah. I've got 6s in 3 cells here now as well, but I'm curious. Okay, So let's see, threes are in these two cells actually. Ah, here we go. That's an unlock. So since I've got a 4 and 5 locked down, this 3 locks the threes in columns 5 and 6. And I've got threes in columns 5 and 6 there. So the 3 has to be in column 4 somewhere, and it has to be in this cage. So that knocked out the 4, which knocked out the 9, which knocked out the 5. So let's see, that unlocks the 4 and 5 as well. And that unlocks the 5 and 1. So 1, 4, 5. What about the 9? Yep, the 9 also unlocks the 9 here and a 2 there. So that leaves me with 3, 6, which are on this column, which means the 6 is up here as well. 7. 7's are in these two cells. And yeah, okay. So not completely unlocked the puzzle yet, but I think I should have some momentum again. For instance, I've got a pair of threes over here. I've got a pair of 9s and something, and 9 has to go here because I've got 9 over there. So this must be an 8, and if that's an 8, then I've got 8s locked in these two cells. Also, I've got 8s locked in these two cells. So 8, I mean, basically that forms an X-wing, but also 8s are locked in rows 1 and 3. So 8s have to be over here as well. So that forms another X-wing, which doesn't unlock just yet. Any other weak areas? 3, 4, 8, and 2. 2, 3, 4, and 8. I don't think I can unlock that yet. No, I can't. So what else can I... What was this again? 3, 6, 7, and 8. 3, 6. It's not a pointed pair of 7s, so I think I'm just going to do another quick round of notations because I think I probably have enough information to do something with the puzzle now. So 2s. 2s are still being stubborn actually. But I do have a pair of 2s there. And let's see. I still don't know where the 2s go in these two cages or that cage. 3. I mean, I do know that where they go in the sense that I know they go in 3 different cells, which is not helpful for our notations. 3s. Oh, had a panic there that the 3s were wrong. Because I saw the pointed 3s, and for some reason I thought that was in the... I thought the middle 3 was gone for some reason. Okay, so can't do anything with 3s. What about 4s? Come on, you gotta give me something. Nothing on 4s. 5s. Again, a more skilled player would probably have seen, like, use these numbers as they solve them to immediately do more unlocks. In fact, I just noticed the 2 and 9 pair are resolved because of that 9. So, what did I just erase? A 2. So 9, 2, 4 are resolved. And surely, come on. That creates a pair of 4s there. 2s doesn't unlock anywhere. 9s doesn't unlock anything else. Huh. That is just irritating then. Yeah, none of these unlocks yet. Stupid bumped up nose. Okay, so let's carry on with the... What was I looking at? 5s or 4s? I can't remember now. Let's look at 5s. I think I was looking at 5s actually. So 5s up here, up there. So they form an X-wing. 6s up here. Nope, can't unlock the 6s either. 7s. 7's over here somewhere. And yeah, they can go anywhere in those cells, can't they? 8s. Wow. I can't believe I still can't solve this. That's crazy. All the 9s are done. Oh, here we go. That 1 unlocks... Oh, god damn it. Unlocks the 1, 5, 7 and 8, just chasing down the chain. So that unlocks the 8, 3, 5 and 4, and that 4 unlocks the 4, 6, 3. Gotta love Snyder notations when he does that. When he just like, I guess you can say breaks down the collapses the house of cards, or I just see it as a nice chain reaction. So now I've got 2s over there. What else have I got? 4, 5, 6. 6s are now in these 2 cells, therefore 6 has to be here, 8 is got to be there, and 8 is up there. And that can no longer be a 6, which means the 6 is here, 2 is there, which means that's a 2 and that's a 3. So this must be the 7, and that unlocks the 1 and 7. That 7 unlocks the 3 and 7, and the 1 and 3, and the 6 and 1 and 6 and 7. And that's how we do today's New York Times Expert Sudoku. Let's move on to LA Times Sudoku now. Let's switch to the intro for a second and go to Expert. Hopefully that doesn't interrupt the live stream, because I've set the intro to change profiles, but since I'm already streaming, it shouldn't change profiles, and messed up. Okay, so LA Times Expert Sudoku. Let's go for it. So 1 here because of that one, and these 2 ones. Again, I have to unlock those settings. I'm getting rid of the highlights. I just feel that's a bit cleaner sometimes. 2s. Let's see, I've got a pair of 2s there, pair of 2s there, pair of 2s there, 2s there. So I don't do as much talking with the LA Times because I find them a bit harder to kind of like focus on due to the, I don't know, there's just something about the way with the styling that I easily lose concentration and mess up basically. So anyway, that creates another 4 here because of the pointed 4 and the 4. And this 4 locks a pair of 4s over here. I think that's sort of 4s that I can do. So 5s. 5s are locked in there because of these 2 5s. Actually, yeah, I've got 2 5s there as well. So 5, 5. So 5s are here as well. 5, 5. Pair of 5s there. That's so I can see. 6s. Hold on, have I got a triple here? No, I haven't. So 6s. Can't do anything with the 6s. What about 7s? 7s are locked in these 2 cells. And that's it really. I can place a 9 here and a 9 there. Let's go up to 8. So 8, I've got a pair of 8s there. Not a whole lot in the way of 8s, so let's go back to 9s now. 9s. So 9s and 6s are locked in those 3 cells, but I don't think any other numbers are locked in there, so I don't think pursuing that is going to help us. Okay, so I think that's 1 round of notations, and shockingly, we haven't actually done a lot, which is, if I recall, quite unusual for LA Times. Let's see, I've got a triple here of 3s. Let's see, 3, 7, 3, 6 and 7. Just gonna blow my nose again. Luckily the sniffles are not too bad this morning, although I bet I've spoke too soon. Oh, I just noticed there's a 7 here because of that 7, and the pointer 7's here. So in fact, is there anything else? No, there isn't. So that means I am now locked down with the 3s and, what was it, 3s and 6. Well, actually, I can resolve them because I've got a 6 over there, and providing the pencil markings are correct. So now that's got to be a 6 because I've got 2 sets of 6s and, sorry, 2 6s on the columns and a 6 on the row. So that also unlocks a pair of 6s there, and I think that's all I can do with the 6s now. Okay, so these are 2 8s and 1. I might as well pencil mark them in because it's a triple. So, what else can I do? Any other weak areas I can attack? I've got a quadruple on this column. 1, 2, 5 and 9. So I've got 5 and 9 there. Have I got 1 or 2? No, I haven't. So, but that does mean this is a 1 or 2, right? Because it sees 5 and 9. And I'm looking for 1, 2, 5 and 9 on these 4 cells. So if that's a 1 and 2, that can't be a 1 anymore. So that resolves the 1 and 7. With that, I can lock a pair of 7s in there. Now, 7s are locked in columns 7 and 9. So there has to be a 7 on column 8. But I've got these 2 7s looking at, well, that 7 looking at that row. So that unlocks another 7 for us. So these are now 2s and 8s. I don't have either. No, I don't have anything on that. Okay, so these are 5s and what are they again? 5s and 9s. I've got 9 sitting into that cell, so 5 and 9s are actually resolvable. So that resolves another 5, another 9, and the 9s are now up here. Well, actually, I've got a pair of 9s here, and well, in fact, the 9 has to go there, so that must be the 9, and this must be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Oh, it's an 8. So if that's an 8, I've got a pair of 8s in there, and the 8 is resolved, which means I've got a 1, 2 pair down there. And if that's a 1, 2 pair, then 1s have to go there. In fact, that 1 unlocks the 1s and 2 anyway. So that means this has to be a 2. And I've got 1s locked in there. This cell, based on the column, has to be a 7, which unlocks a pair of 7s there, and a 7 over here. And this is a triple of 1, 3, and 4. Well, 1s and 3s share the same 2 cells, so that unlocks a 4. So I've got a pair of 4s over here. I guess it is quite an easy one today then. Okay, so what have I got here? I've got 2 and something, but I know that the 2 can't go in this cell. So this must be the 2, because on the row I've only got 2 cells left and they're in the cage. And I've done the Snyder notation, so there's no way that could have been a 2. And therefore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this has to be a 6 then. And if that's a 6, it unlocks a 6 there, and a pair of 6s over here. I also have another pair of 6s over there as well, so that's all the 6s pencil marked in. Any other weak areas? I've got 1, 6, well, that can't be 1 or 6. Let's see, 1, 6, 1, 6, 4. Ah, okay. 1, 6, 4 and 3, that's interesting, because I've got 4 and 6 there, so that has to be a 1 and 3. But before I move on, hold on. 1, 6, 3 and 4, so that's going to be 3 and 4. That's going to be 1 and 3. Oh, that's not super useful, but maybe the 1 and 3 can unlock something for me on this roll. If that's a 1 and 3, what am I missing on the roll? I've basically got a matching pair of the 1s and 3s, so that leaves me 7, 8, 5, 2, 5, 7 and 8, 2, 5, 7 and 8, 2, 5, 7 and 8. I can't resolve that just yet. Although actually, I've got a pair of 2s there anyway. So that means these have to be 5 and 8. Okay, that may be useful. Yeah, because that 2 forces a 2 and 7 pair there. And that means these are 8s and 6s. And let's see. Well, 6. Oh no, I've already got the 6. That's a bit annoying. Hold on a sec. This is 2 and 8, isn't it? And I've got an 8 there. So 2 and 8 are resolved. So what does that do for us? I've got a triple of 3. 3, 6 and 8. Well, 8s have to be down there in these two cells. 3s, I've got no 3s. What was the other number? 3, 6 and 8. I've got no 6s either, so can't pencil mark them in just yet. Okay. So I guess if that's 1, 3, these must be 1s and 3s as well. So forming a 1, 3, 4 triple. This can't be a 1, so yeah, that's all the pencil markings I can do. I've got a pair and a triple there basically, so I'm waffling a little bit now. So let's see, I've got 2, 4 and a 5 here. Can I do anything with that? 4, no. What about a 2? Oh, scared me there for a second. So that can't be an 8. These are not 2 and 8. They are 2s and... what are they? 2s and 3s, which also can't be unlocked. But I do have 3s locked in these two cells and 4s locked in these two cells. So the 4s are locked in here, so columns 1s and 3s in these two cages, so that must be a 4. It's getting really messy now. 5 and 8 oh, actually that can't be an 8 anyway, so 5 and 8 are resolved, so 5, 1, 6 and 4 are resolved as well, meaning this is a 3. So that means the 3s are down here and this must be a 6. And if that's a 6, then 6 and 8 are resolved, and the 8 resolves the 8 and 3, and the 3 doesn't instantly unlock the 3 yet, but something else should have unlocked something here. 5, 4, 7, 7, 2. Wow, I haven't actually unlocked those, so that's a bit shocking. And there must be something else here. So that 4 unlocks the 4, 2 and 3 there. So what does that do? That means that has to be a 2. And if that's a 2, then a 7 and 2 are unlocked, which means 7, 4 are unlocked. And these are 5s and... well, that has to be the 5 because I've got a 5 here. And this is actually a 3. And... 1, 3, 1, 3 because of the 3 in the top left corner. So that's today's LA Times Expert Sudoku. So I think I'm going to switch back to New York Times Medium now. So let's have a look. I'll do a normal walkthrough today because I haven't done some of those in a while. So I'm going to do the Snyder notations to solve this. But before I do, I noticed that the 1s are in abundance, and we can actually solve at least 2 numbers, possibly more. So first of all, there has to be a 1, because I've got a 1 here, 1 there, and 1 there, ruling out these 4 cells. So there has to be a 1. And also over here, I've got the 1s locking out these 2 columns, and a 1 ruling out this cell. So that's another 1 done. So after that, we're going to continue pencil marking the puzzle. So switching to candidate mode with the space bar, and I can pencil mark in the 1s in this cage, for instance. And what else can I do? I can pencil mark in the 1s in that cage, because so cages is what I call some people call them boxes. I call them cages, because I worry that the individual cells could be interpreted as boxes if I say boxes. In fact, when my wife first started doing Sudoku, the New York Times Sudoku, she called everything boxes. So that was highly confusing. So this is why I say cages instead of boxes. So I think that's all the ones we can pencil mark in under Snyder notation. Well, you may ask why, what about these 3 cells, because they can contain 1s as well. So under Snyder notations, what we try to do is minimize the pencil markings to just 2 candidates per cage, and that's usually enough to solve the New York Times Sudoku. For more difficult Sudokus, like if you go on sudoku.com, which personally I don't really like because I think their app is quite poor, you can go to, I think the impossible tier or whatever, the most difficult tier. That's actually gets super difficult, and often I don't think I personally can't solve in Snyder notations. But for the New York Times, I'm confident that I'll be able to solve this with just basic notations. And imagine if you transfer to paper, pen and paper, the less pencil markings you need, the better it is, because you don't end up having ridiculous amount of writing on your paper, basically. So that's sort of ones we can do. So let's move on to twos. Well, I've got a pair of twos there locking out the columns, leaving me 3 possible cells there, and I've got 2 looking to that cell, so the twos are in these 2 cells. The 2 here results in 3 possible candidates, so we're going to leave that alone. Here we've got 4 candidates in this cage, 4 candidates in this cage as well, so I can't do anything else with twos, because these twos will leave 3 or even 6 candidates. So let's move on to threes. So I've got this 3 looking into that cell and that 3 looking into those 2 cells, so I can unlock a 3 there. So now that I've got 2 threes in the vertical cages, I can pencil mark in a pair of 3s in the middle cage. Anything else I can do with the 3s? Not that I can see, so I'm going to move on because everything else have more than 2 candidates. So let's look at 4s. I've only got a single 4 here, so that may be useful later. So 4 is considered a weak number, so just come back to that later. But 5, I can already place a 5 here because of these 2 5s ticking the columns and this 5 ticking out that cell. So that in turn means the 5s are locked in these 2 cells, but I've got a 5 up here, so I can place a 5 there. And again, this is kind of like creating a chain reaction. The 5s are now locked up here because these 2 columns are taken up, but I've got 5 in a row. So just follow the chain and sometimes you find the treasure. And the final 5, because I've placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 5s. So we've got 8 5s. The last 5 has to be solvable, and it's here because the 2 rows and the 2 columns are taken. So all the 5s are done. Let's look at 6s then. I've got a pair of 6s there from this single 6 on its own. Anything else? I've got 6 over here because of these 2 6s. So now I've got another pair of 6s looking down the columns, locking a 6 over here. And let's see, any other 6s? That may be the end of the chain because I'm left with 3 possible candidates in the remaining cells now. So let's move on to 7s. 7s, I've got these 2 7s locking a pair of 7s in here. Can we do anything else with the 7s is what I'm curious about. Not right now, so let's move on because yeah, I can't do any more 7s. So let's have a look at the 8s. Well, the 8s are definitely not very friendly. Yeah, they don't actually lock down any candidates for us. So let's look at 9s. I can place a 9 over here because of these 2 9s ruling out the rows and a 9 here locking the column. So I've got 9 there. Sorry, just had to blow my nose for a second. Any other 9s? Well, this 9 and that 9 rules out these 3 cells, giving me a pair of 9s. Now, these 9s are useful because if we think about where the 9s can go in this cage, they have to be on row 6 of the puzzle. So wherever the 9 is in this cage, it's already taken up row 6. So that means there can't be any more 9s on this row under any circumstances. So essentially, you haven't got a 9, but you know that the 9 is covered on row 6. So we call it a pointed pair because I think it's because you look in the direction that it's pointing, so it's horizontal, so it's pointing horizontally at these 2 cells. I'm ignoring these 2 because I've already got 9 in the cage. So that means these 2 cells can't be 9s, and these 2 cells can't be 9s because of the 9. So therefore, a pair of 9s have to be in these 2 cells because 9s have to be on row 5 somewhere. So that is useful. But I think that's all I can do with the 9s actually. So surprisingly, not a huge amount done. Usually, I think, well, I say usually, quite often you'll find like half the puzzle will be done by the time I've done a round of pencil markings. Also, some people like to look into a cage at a time to find what pencil markings they can do. I like to do a number at a time because I think that's more efficient, because you can spot things that sometimes you may not be able to spot by just looking at the numbers. There are pros and cons to whether you do cages or numbers first, but either way should give you the solutions. I just find it easier to just scan one number at a time and see what relationships the numbers have. The downside is sometimes in cages you may find that like hidden triples and hidden pairs more easily if you focus on them, but you may miss like some invisible numbers. But I have explained in other videos, but I don't think we'll get an opportunity to find them in this puzzle. Actually, we can. So let's do this. I'm going to ignore this one here. Let's just look at this one for a second. This one, looking down into the bottom cage, forces the 1 to be in column 2. So just like a pointed pair, this is a pointed triple. So that means the 1s are covered in column 2. That means that can't be a 1 anymore. So that's an example of how looking at one number at a time can be quite useful. So even if that 1 is not there, which would have unlocked a pair of 1s there, so you can see the points at 1. Even without that 1, I could have placed this 1 here. So that's why I think it's more useful to look at the numbers one at a time. So anyway, let's finish off. I think I've looked at 9s, haven't I? Yes, I have. So we haven't completed the puzzle. We haven't even done half of the puzzle yet, I don't think. So that's quite surprising. But what we can do now is we can do another scan from 1 to 9 and see if we can place any more numbers. As you saw, we've managed to place a 1 that we couldn't before, because previously we had 5 and 6s there, which meant the 1s could go in these 3 cells, and they weren't pointing up to unlock this one. But now that we've placed the 5 and 6, we're able to create the pointed pairs. So basically the grid has changed as we place numbers. We've placed numbers. The largest number we've got is a 6. Oh no, it's a 9. So that means the board has changed in nature in terms of what's available to us, basically. So one thing we can do is just scan the numbers again. But what I like to do is now have the fun, do the fun part, which is to see if there are any weak areas we can attack. Or in this instance, I'm actually going to look at this cage here, any interesting patterns. So whenever you've got 4 numbers tucked away in a corner, that's always quite an exciting opportunity, because that means your row and column, you've got a single row and a single column left in the cage. So if a number covers one of the row or the cage, it immediately creates a pointed pair for you. As an example, this 8 sees into this column, so that forces a pair of 8s in there, basically. So that creates a pointed pair of 8s, and that's useful because it rules out this cell as being an 8. So now I can unlock a pair of 8s in this cage. So this 8 further unlocks a pair of 8s down there, because I've already got the 8s covered in the rows, and this pointed pair of 8s allows me to place the final pair of 8s in the bottom cage, basically. So but I can't place any more 8s, so, but it is useful. So anything else? So one quick thing to do is just look at these numbers that look into the cage, the column in the cage. I've got 9, 1, 6, and 6 and 5. I've already pencil marked in the 8, so there are no new numbers to unlock in this row, basically. But what about the row? I've got 1, 2, so 2s aren't in this cage, so I can unlock them. So that creates a pointed pair of 2s, which unlocks a 2 over here, because this 2 and the pointed pair of 2s rules out these 3 cells. So that further unlocks a pair of 2s down here because of that 2 and that 2. So now this 2, that 2 and that 2 unlocks a 2 in this cell, and this is when Snyder notation comes in handy. So we're able to place a 2 in this cell, but you notice that there's a pencil marking of 3 in there already. So when I place the 2, I've effectively eliminated one of the possible places where the 3s can go. And if I do that, I've only got one possible place left for the 3. So 3 has to go there now. So that is the power of Snyder notations, basically. Another power of Snyder notation is since whenever I look in a cage, I've only got 2 possible candidates. So if I look in this column now, I've only got 2 cells left. Well, they have to be, what are they? They have to be 4 and 8. Without even scanning at all, I can already tell the 8 goes there, because if I have a pencil marking for 8 in here, and I know I've done Snyder notations where there are 2 possible candidates for 8, I know that 8 can't possibly be in here, because I would have pencil marked in 8 in this cell already. So I can quickly deduce, since the 2 remaining numbers falls within the same cage, and the 8 isn't pencil marked in here, I can immediately place the 8. So it's not really an advanced technique, but it's kind of, I don't know, moderate technique for solving puzzles. So, oh, I've got a bit of cough going on now. So now that I've placed the 8, I can place the 4 as well. So what else can I do? Well, if I look at the 8, I've got pointer pair of 8, so the 8s must go in these 2 cells as well. So this is quite interesting, actually. Oh, in fact, I can do 2 things here. By placing these 8s, I already know that I've got a pair of 8s over here. The reason for that is because 8s are now locked in the same 2 rows, in rows 5 and 6, in these 2 cages. So in these 2 cages, I can't place an 8 on row 4. Well, I have to have an 8 on row 4 somewhere. Since I've ruled it out from these 2 cages, it must be in the final cage. So that's another kind of moderate techniques that is quite useful. Although, if you actually study this cage, you find that this 8 forces a pointer pair of 8s there anyway, so that unlocks the 8 over here. So that's another way of deducing that the 8s are in here. So just different methods, basically. Anything else I can do with the 8s? I know the 8s are somewhere up there, but I can't place them just yet. So I think I am going to look at what else this week. I've got triple in this column, so let's have a look at that. I've also got triple on this row as well. So this is what I call weak area. I personally consider weak areas anywhere with 4 or less numbers now, because I've been practicing Sudokus with New York Times every day, and now I'm able to kind of like do more and more numbers. In the future, I'm hoping that I will consider 5 empty cells to be weak as well, but I'm not there yet. But anyway, let's have a look and see what these 3 numbers could be. I know that they can be 2s, because I've got that pencil marked in. I know it could be 4s as well. It's 2, 4 and 7. So in this cell, I've got a 2 and I've got a 4. So if I'm looking for 2, 4 and 7 there, this can't be 2 or 4. Therefore, it has to be a 7. So that means these are now 2s and 4s, because those are the only 2 numbers left on the column. So they form what's called a matching pair. When you've got a matching pair of numbers where 2 numbers are in the same 2 cells, that basically means no other numbers can go in, because if one is a 2, the other has to be a 4. Whereas if that was a 4, this has to be a 2. So we can't put any other numbers in. So as a result, we can actually deduce that these 2 numbers are 8 and 7s, because they can't be 2 or 4s, and the 7 can't go in these 2 cells, so they have to go there, basically. So with that, we've got another pointer pair of 7s. So can they do anything? They unlock a pair of 7s over there, because I've got 7 and pointer 7s. So those are basically the fundamental techniques that I use, but I'm a bit conscious about time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit and see what I can do. So, and I've got a pair of 3s and 8s in here, because those are the only 2 numbers left. That leaves me a 7, 9 and 4 triple. So in fact, I know these are 4s anyway, because that 4 locks a pair of 4s there. So this is kind of this is also a matching pair of 4s and 9s, because if you observe, 4 and 9 share the same 2 cells. And again, the rule is, if you've got a matching pair, no other numbers can go in them. So the 7 has to be pushed out of the matching pair. So the 7 is now here. So that 7 locks another 7 over here because of that 7 and that 7. So what else can I do? 7s, not much else with the 7s. I've got another pair here. These are 4s and 9s. So since I've got a 4-9 pair within this cage, I saw the 4 and 9 from the roll basically, but now that creates another pair of 3s and 8s. So can't resolve them just yet. Anything else that is weak? I'm going to stick to like triples for now, even though I'm tempted to look at the quadruples. So I've got triple of 3, 8 and 4. Well, I've got 4 and 8 looking into this cell. So this can't be 4 or 8, it has to be a 3 then. And if that's a 3, that just erases that pencil marking. But also, since I know this is a 3-8 pair, it's part of a matching pair. So I can automatically place the other number in to deduce the 8 and the 3, basically. So now I've got a pair of 8s there because of that 8 and that 8. And the 3s are locked. 3 is locked in this cell because 3s are taken out of those 2 rows and these 2 columns. So by placing the 3, I've erased a 2 because there was a 2 there before. So the only other 2 pencil marking has to be the 2. And I've just erased a 7, so the only other 7 is a 7 and the 8. So that's a bit of a chain reaction that you can follow. So anything else? So that 7 locks a 7 down here.